next order of business, roll call, may we please commence roll call?
Are you unmuted, Zainab?
Student trustee Hawk,
Present.
President Almendras,
Present.
Vice President Fernandez,
Present.
Chief of Staff Patino, Speaker of the House Joe, Treasurer Basta, Graphic Designer Ramahi,
Present.
Web Administrator Suarez,
Present.
Chairperson Thumu,
Present.
Chairperson Chidari,
Present.
Chairperson Mercat is here, Chairperson Alvarez, Chairperson Celestino, Representative Yusuf, Representative Beltran, Representative Ahmed, Representative Cruz, Representative Peridrew, Representative Habeli, Representative Sharma, Representative Ansari, Representative Giron, Representative Erlbacher, Representative Goman, Representative Patel, Representative Cordoba, Representative Vodila,
Present.
Representative Cabales, Representative Dasgupta, Representative Slaughter, Representative Zafar, Representative Saadi, Representative Hadir,
Present.
Representative Rodriguez, Representative Ali,
Present.
Representative Zhang, Representative Lin, Representative Preobrazhenskia,
Present.
Representative Dean, Representative El Adwan.
Present.
Thank you. The next order of business is reading and approval of the minutes. Please take the time to read over the minutes. Are there any corrections to the minutes? Yes, student trustee Hawk.
Yeah, can I amend, my last comment, the previous subject of construction, instead of it saying this falls after 8 years of no increase, I'd like that to be amended to say this falls after, 6 of the 8 years of no increase.
There's been a motion to amend, student trustee Hawk's comment to say 6 of the 8 years instead of 8 years. Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, please say nay. Does anyone abstain? If not, then the motion carries. Are there any other corrections to the minutes? If not, then the minutes will stand as approved. The next order of business is reading and approval of the agenda. Please take the time to read over the agenda. Are there any corrections to the agenda? Yes. Nick.
I'd like the motion to add the Campus Safety Commission as an item for discussion.
There's been a motion to add the Campus Safety Commission as an item for discussion. Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, please say nay. Does anyone abstain? If not, then the motion carries. Are there any other changes to the agenda? If not, then the agenda will stand as approved. The next order of business is public comments. Is there any public comments? If not, we will move on to the next order of business, which is guest speakers. There are no guest speakers, so we can move on to the next order of business, which is old business. First, we have resolution 2023 S1 5001. Treasurer Basta, could you please read this for us?
This is the USG GBM catering and room reservations resolution. Whereas it is constitutionally mandated for the undergraduate student government to conduct general body meetings at a minimum of 8 times per semester, and whereas the size and operational needs of the USG general body meetings require space beyond which its office can provide, and whereas the general body meetings have traditionally provided catering for members, then let it be resolved that the undergraduate student government shall allocate up to $7,000 to fund catering services and cover any room costs for the spring 2023 semester. And let it be further resolved that all unspent funds after the last general body meeting shall be returned to the budget.
Thank you. Are there any questions or comments regarding this resolution? As a reminder, we will be voting on this tonight. If not, we will move on to voting. All those in favor of adopting resolution 2023 S1/5001, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, please say nay. Does anyone abstain? If not, then resolution 2023 S1/5001 has passed. The next order of business is new business. First, we have resolution 2023 S25-02. Representative Das Gupta, could you please read this for us?
Whereas the undergraduate student government seeks to promote social events for students on campus, and whereas the undergraduate student government seeks to partner with registered departmental organizations on campus, and whereas the undergraduate student government seeks to establish a partnership with UIC Radio, then let it be resolved that on February 16th, the undergraduate student government will partner with UIC Radio for an open mic night in Student Center East, and let it be further resolved that USG shall allocate a maximum of $300 for the purchase of drinks and snacks from UIC catering for the attendees of the event, and let it be further resolved that any unspent funds shall be returned to the USG budget.
Thank you. I will now open the floor up for discussion. Are there any questions or comments? I have a question. So I know a big topic of discussion last semester was that we weren't allowed to fund student orgs. Could someone please explain why we are allowed to fund this event?
Yeah, thank you for bringing that up. So for those of you who don't know, last semester, we were pretty much revoked of our right to collaborate with student organizations individually. So this means that, say for instance, one student organization wanted to have a collaboration with us, wanted to have an event. We weren't allowed to collaborate with them unless this is a USG event. So the difference between this and that is that UIC Radio is a registered departmental organization, is not technically a student organization, nor is it a club. And this is also a USG event, so we think this is a perfect opportunity.
Thank you. Are there any other questions or comments regarding this resolution? We will be voting on this next week. Yes?
Yeah, so moving forward, USG can only collaborate and fund with partner organizations. So like, for example, like Dolman's Research and Leadership Center and like Juarez and like AAA, those are also partners that you can work with?
Yes, absolutely. So our ideology behind this is we want to bring as many students as possible. And if we're collaborating with one student organization, even though they may be relatively large, we want to bring in as many as possible. So if we're collaborating with the department, then we can bring in multiple different student organizations from within that department, therefore benefiting the most students as possible. So yeah, absolutely. And just going forward, this is something that we are working with the Dean of Students on. This is something that we absolutely hope doesn't stay the same going into next year. We hope to get our collaboration policies back to normal, but for the time being, this is what we have to work with. Thank you.
Yes, Representative Dean? Someone pass our mic, please.
Okay, this is just for clarification, since like it's still like in COVID, like not like quarantine, but it's still COVID like ever, and like there are most places on campus require mask. So like, how is it worked for this event?
We will be following the procedures of each building. So since we're planning on hosting it in SCE, masks are optional. So that will just be what we require for the event. Masks are optional.
Okay, that's everything. Thank you.
Are there any other questions or comments? Yes. Leslie?
I just wanted to ask what time of day it's gonna be and like the location in Student Center East for the event.
We're looking at the Ward Lounge, which is like, if you guys aren't familiar, the 3 elevators that you use to get up here. It's that like room with the red wall across from it. And we're looking towards a time in the evening, so probably like 5 or 6 p.m. when most people are like out of classes.
Are there any other questions or comments? Yes, Monty?
Have you checked to see if that area is available at that time with meetings and conferences just yet?
Yeah, it's
Okay.
available. And the thing with the Ward Lounge is that like you can't kick out the students that are already in there, but you can reserve it as an event space. So for that, it is available.
Are there any other questions or comments? If not, we will be voting on this resolution next week. The next order of business is items for discussion. Our first item for discussion is the Public Safety Commission. President Almondras, would you please present this for us?
Thank you. So, as you remember from last semester, we established the Campus Safety Commission, which is, as the name implies, to work on campus safety initiatives such as improving night ride services and improving safety within places like residential areas. And so we've started, the commission has started meeting this semester, so I want to have a moment to invite everyone to this the commission meeting to work on campus safety initiatives, and I think the commissioner can speak more about the meetings and such.
Yeah, absolutely. So these campus safety commissions are taking place every Friday from 1:30 to 2:30 p.m. The reason we got such weird hours because I know a lot of people have a busy schedule, especially on Fridays, depending with discussion sessions and stuff. Everyone's invited to come in. We're trying to have as much representation as possible. When it comes to pushing different initiatives where we have some in play, we have future programs which we're thinking to work with, like such as like CTA or the USC Police Department. So it's an open invite to anybody in the USG government who is interested in joining the Campus Safety Commission. Just send me a DM to group me or send me an email. Like I said, it's every Friday from 1:30 to 2:30 p.m. It's a weekly meeting. So we meet once a week and speak about stuff. So that's it for now, and yeah, thank you. Please feel free.
Are there any questions or comments regarding the Public Safety Commission?
But yeah, again, encourage everyone to join this, or if not, at the very least, join the conversation on how we can make not just our campus safer, but our community safer, because this isn't just for exclusively our campus, but we're also working with surrounding areas that students are around safer. So yeah, thank you.
If there are no more, oh, sorry, Sophia, go ahead.
I actually recently talked to the UIC police officers about instances of like roofing at the clubs outside of campus. Is that like one of the questions that can be brought up at those meetings?
Definitely, I think it's something a big component of these commissions is to educate students. So maybe there's definitely area for how we can like tell students to be safe out there while they're doing their thing.
Thank you.
Just to add on to that, one of our goals is to work with the surrounding community for the same reason, because we understand students don't only just come to school here. We have people who live their lives out here right by Taylor Street, go to the restaurants, who live there. We have kids who do housing right here within the campus. When it comes to surrounding areas and other activities students do, it does pertain to us because it is the safety of students. In regard to like speaking about things like that, we can definitely set up a meeting, like let's say speak with Chief Booker or other people who represent with the USC Police Department and speak about such matters. Because if it has to do with students and it has to do with our safety, and we're more than open to speak about that. Thank you.
Are there any other questions or comments? Are there any other items for discussion? If not, we will move on to the next order of business, which is ex officio reports. May we please have the report of the advisor?
Good evening, everyone. For those that have met, I am Fred McCall, so students, Associate Vice Chancellor for Student Engagement. Alice, I think he announced to you all that you guys take on the campus, and so I'm glad to be here to support you all for weigh in, so Matthew and Ahmed and the rest of the folks see how to support you. And, so please feel free to reach out with any questions.
Thank you. Are there any questions or comments regarding the advisor's report? If not, the report of the advisor is filed, and thank you for being here with us today. The next report is the report that's interesting, and these are the report that's interesting.
All right, good afternoon, everyone. Can everyone hear me?
Yeah.
All right, great. So, excuse me. So for tonight's report, I actually split it into two parts. The first part, I'm not gonna go over just my regular report. You guys feel free to read over it, it's not that long. I'm going to instead turn your attention to the fact sheet I made that I want to present to you, and I will present it to other student government councils. Over the past week, after we had questions, especially from the last GPM about tuition increases and so forth, I had a lot of outstanding questions that came to me outside of the GPM. And I thought to myself, well, if they had those questions, chances are everybody else here has those same type of questions. So I want to make sure there's one comprehensive document that addresses this that you can go back and refer to as well, that provides historical context as well. So there's 5 total things. Number one, I want to start with the percentage of in-state students at UIC versus peer institutions. UIC currently stands at 89%, while our peer institutions stand at 76%. That is actually, in my opinion, a pretty impressive number considering our historical mass immigration from the state. More folks are choosing to leave Illinois for various reasons, and the fact that we are working towards retaining our students is a good indicator of where we can go in the future and make sure that we retain our talent and our homegrown citizens. Number 2 is one of the bigger questions that I've had, which is the resident undergraduate tuition at UIC. You can see from the table where our tuition was several years ago, and you can see where it's been now and where it'll be next year. So over the last 8 years or so, we've only increased tuition 2 times, and we're doing it for the 3rd time next year. The reason for this is because a university's main source of funding comes from 2 avenues. It comes from state funding and it comes from tuition. And historically, we've seen a decrease in state appropriations every single year. In 2015, we had the infamous lockdown where there was no budget for the state. That forced the system as a whole to go under a reserves fund to make sure that it can stay operational. And ever since then, we've done our best to keep tuition consistent. We want to make sure that we remain one of the more affordable universities in Illinois. We might be the most affordable in the state, if I'm not mistaken. And any decisions that we make will be done in collaboration with student-involved committees and university staff, administration, and so forth. Number 3 is the current tuition rate comparison. Now, there's a lot of questions out there about, well, this is what I'm paying at UIC, where would it be elsewhere? On the list is the top peers that we have nationwide. As you can see, USC ranks number 3, but I do want to provide a little bit more context to it. About 10 years ago, UIC was number 1 on this list with a wide margin. And what happened over the years is because we had new administrations coming in to place an emphasis on keeping things affordable, over the years, we've gradually fallen to number 1, to number 2, and now to number 3. Our goal at the system level and at the university level is to keep these rates as consistent as possible. We want to work our way towards the middle of the group so that we stay competitive, not only for you, but also for state taxpayers whose funding does go partially to this university and to the system in large. Number 4 is the non-resident and international student rates. There will be a 2.2 to 2.5% increase for domestic non-resident and international students. The exact figures will depend upon which program you're in. So I know there are questions about where international students will stand. Again, please remember that if you entered USC last year and you're still in your 4-year cohort, your rates for tuition will not change. It's only if you stay for a 5th year or 6th year that you can expect to see that change. Also, if this is your next 1st year next year. And then number five, this is something that I know many of us here are in some pre-professional track, whether it be healthcare, law, so forth. This is the changes that you will see next year for those graduate students. Some programs like medicine, nursing, and physical therapy, which are very much in high demand, are seeing the highest increase. Others, such as law, occupational therapy, and exercise physiology, have made the determination that they don't need an increase. So we haven't done any so far. And then a good note is to mention that there will be no increases in the rates for the majority of online programs that are offered at USC. And then second to last is the student fees and assessments. This chart will affect everybody regardless of your cohort. And you can see over the course of this year and next year, the changes that are being made. If you have any more questions about specific fees, their descriptions and so forth, there's a link in the document we can go to handle all of it. I do want to note that these fees specifically are determined at the university level. It is not a system decision. So what happens is you have various committees who have student representation on them, who review each unit, look at, okay, well, this is where we are currently, these are what the needs are as we put it to us, and they make recommendations that come to the board level, and we decide to either approve or deny them. We decide to approve all of them based upon inflation, competitive positioning, and so forth. And then finally is the undergraduate room and board grades. This is where we were, and this is where we'll be going for the academic year 2023 and 2024. It's about a 5% change, and the same reasoning is behind all of it. So hopefully with this information, all of you will be better informed. You can also inform your colleagues and your peers who may also be curious. I know it's one of the more prominent questions and conversations that happen around campus. And please always reach out to me, and even right here, right now, if you have any questions. Thank you.
Thank you. Are there any questions or comments? Okay, Director Kennedy?
For the housing rates, I know there's like different rates like per building. Is this dollar change consistent with every building on this campus?
Thank you for that question. So the percent change is what will go to housing as a whole unit, not necessarily to the specific building. For specific changes for your own building, you have to reach out to that specific administration.
Okay, thanks.
Director Manisky?
Yeah, I just wanted to ask, I know for the undergrad tuition, it like freezes when you enter the school. Does it do the same for like graduate school, or like is that if there's a percent increase like next year as well, like does it increase year to year in graduate school?
Yeah, that's a great question. So as far as I know, the four-year cohort is a specific state and university law that applies to undergraduate students. I do not believe it applies to graduate students, but feel free to fact check me on that. So I know a lot of us are pre-professional, that's why I put it on there. So whatever rates you personally, all of us see on there, expect to have that increase for you when you apply and eventually hopefully matriculate to one of USC's programs.
Are there any other questions or comments regarding student trustees? Is this information going to be made available to students? We don't know yet.
Yes, so I know the bottom it says that no redistribution or reprint can happen. However, I will give USG permission to do so if they so wish, and I will be putting it on my social media as well.
Are there any other questions or comments regarding student trustee Hawk's report? If not, then the report of the student trustee will be filed. The next order of business is officer reports. May we please have the report of the president?
Thank you. So yeah, pretty long report here. First things first, so post-strike, so I emailed the union leadership on the concerns we brought up about grades, due dates, exams, last assembly session. So the union leadership that said that they will send an email out to all the union members about our concerns and make sure that professors readjust their courses accordingly. There will be a FAQ release for both professors and students. But their greatest recommendation is to encourage all students to reach out to their professors and express any concerns they may have about their assignments or exams. And they should, have received a word from union leadership and hopefully be more lenient in your courses. For lobby day, so the training was last Friday. And lobby day will be held on February 22nd. I think Jared will talk more about this during his report. But in addition, the municipal election that's happening on February 28th. So please be sure to vote and check out what options you have if you're living here in the city. For the 34th Ward Aldermanic Candidate Forum, so unfortunately that is to be determined now because one of the candidates backed out, they dropped out for some reason, but we are looking to maybe invite the 28th Alderman to come to this forum. He's running uncontested, so due to, I think, the election codes in the Chicago code book, I think they are allowed to come to this forum, so, yep. And in terms of the USG survey, Mike and I met to make finishing touches to the survey. Hopefully it'll be ready this week and be released as soon as next week. I'm just waiting for a reply from USC Library to get a professional review. In my meeting with Vice Chancellor Rob Dixon and Gene Reardon, who is the Executive Director of Career Services, we talked about professional development resources at UIC. I recommended that a task force is needed to look into such resources. And then Gene informed me that there is kind of a similar group called the College Career Council. And so I'm hoping to join in this meeting and provide my ideas and hopefully maybe become a member of it to provide student perspective, because I firmly believe that professional development resources are very important to a student's success. And so the goals I'm hoping is that to compile all professional career development resources at UIC in one report, conduct student-focused careers. We also talked about the Meal Swipe donation program. Rob Dixon seemed to support the program, so we'll do a follow-up meeting with the Wellness Center, and I'll follow up with Representative Anna, who is helping this project. We also talked about international student resources. Again, this is based on what was said in our previous items of discussion. So we talked about that, and he said he'll put that on his radar to look into support resources for international students. Last Friday, I had a student voice committee meeting. So Refreshing is a committee I was invited to be a part of. This is a coalition of students across Illinois to lobby elected officials on higher education issues. So we're in the next phase, and the team is working towards booking meetings with elected officials. And we'll probably have a briefing meeting sometime early February. Then we had a meeting with Mike and Michelle to discuss mental health initiatives. There's the next reading review day work group is set to meet on February 6th. We're hoping to hash out final details on what we want and hear what they want to compromise, so we'll go along those ongoing negotiations. We also talked about mental health commission plans for the semester. And on the topic of commissions, so on the topic of mental health, last GBM, I introduced or had to remove a resolution that looked into mental health excuse absences. This is a resolution we're joining efforts with other universities, so I just need to figure out what the game plan is now with this coalition of student government leaders. And once I have all those answers, I feel comfortable that this is a good game plan, then we'll introduce it here as a resolution, and we can discuss it as our own individual university body. And in the item for discussion, we talked about the Campus Safety Commission, but again, I encourage everyone to join either commission to work on these specific issues. On Saturday, I met some mayoral candidates, got a picture with Chuy Garcia, told him a little bit about what we're doing, and he seemed pretty happy about what we're doing. So, and on the third page, you can see our picture. He seems very happy. He's a very busy guy. Yeah. And then one last thing. So this has been an ongoing concern from students. about seating on campus. We have very limited space here at UIC, but we found a really cool initiative that we're hoping to implement. This is a half bench, half table thing. We actually talked about it during orientation. For those who were there, remember that? It's actually, yeah, no, that was actually a real thing. So we're gonna take action on that. Deputy Treasurer Wallace, Treasurer Costa will be co-leads on this project, and we're hoping to get a resolution out as soon as possible and introduce it in the fall. And finally, just, yeah, setting up meetings with the Center for Student Involvement, SLCE, and following up on last year's initiative on campus safety and the USG faculty OER leadership board. With that, I yield my time for questions.
Thank you. Are there any questions or comments regarding President Amangis's report? Yes, Director Kennedy.
So I know this wasn't like included in your report, but do you know if they extended like the ad drop period? Or did they not? Because like there was a lot of confusion like within students.
Right, so yeah, that's something you didn't address yet. I can definitely follow up with them and the provost office to see if that's been extended. Right now, I haven't heard any word about it being extended, but I can definitely inquire about it.
Yes, Representative Dean.
So we just have two questions. The first one, I know is not included in your report, but like it's related to like the library. So like I do remember last semester we mentioned and discussed about this, but like this semester I don't see any improvement on the study room because like we was kind of discussing about like how we're gonna extend the time for the study room, but I did ask and like I my friend asked too, but like they don't receive any like update about that.
Yeah, I could definitely follow up on that. That's actually something I'll put on my calendar to set a meeting with the Dean of Libraries. I believe the study rooms were a huge success last semester, so maybe based off that success, the Dean of Libraries will be more open to keep that open semester round, not just for finals.
And just the last, sorry, and just the last question. You talk about like the international student resources, right? And like, is this gonna be like public shared to the international students like on social medias, or is this just like a meeting?
Oh, no, so that was just a discussion Mike and I were having with Vice Chancellor Dixon. In terms of any initiatives regarding international students, that's an ongoing project we have.
Okay. We'll follow with that. Thank you.
Thank you.
Representative Ansari?
Yeah, I just wanted to add something to like the ad drop period. I did talk to my advisor and she told me there is like a petition process that you can go through, and I think that it's due by like February, like this coming Monday. So that is an option.
Yeah, thank you for sharing that. I encourage you to talk to Kemi about the news and promote that out to society.
You can petition to your advisor if you want to have an extension to your ad.
Sorry, Director Jair and then Patricia Fox. No, go ahead.
So I just checked the UIC emails, and it says that students are able to drop and add and drop courses through the My UIC portal until 11:59 on Sunday, January 22nd. So the add drop date did pass, but if you can add the petition link to the group here or anything, I think that can be really useful.
That's the one. Yeah, it is.
I don't think there's a link. I think you just have to talk to your advisor. And they send you the paperwork for it, yeah.
I see. Just a question about that. Is this something that's always been in place or is it newly in place because of the
It's for
strike?
like strike related purposes, like if you show that like because of the strike you were unsure of whether to drop the address class, then you're allowed to.
Right, Thank you. Are there any other questions or comments regarding President? Yes, Representative Guerra?
Yeah, just a quick question. Is there a way to make it available to social media such as like the USG page about, the union, USC teachers being able to, being in support of students when it comes to this new pact of being able to, talk to them when it comes to these strike concerns? Because I'm sure that a lot of students are like, might be like a little confused on like, maybe teachers forgot about it, moved on or whatever, maybe just, showing this can help people share it to, somewhere that all students tend to use, such as Instagram or something.
Yeah, that's something we could definitely,
Are there any other questions or comments regarding President Almond's report?
one thing that I did not include in my report, that I'll include very quickly. So Joy Bergar from CSI contacted me about the APIDAA month planning committee. If you're interested in helping plan events for Asian Pacific Islander, that's the American Awareness Month, please reach out to me and I'll refer you to her so that we can start planning cool events for that month. And yeah, first meeting is January 31st, so actually that's tomorrow, 2 to 3 p.m. In SE 611. So if you're able to make that, please let me know. But if you can't make it but you're interested, please do reach out. Thank you. Again, it's Tuesday, January 31st, from 2 to 3 p.m. in Student Center East 611.
If there are no more questions or comments, then President Almond's report will be filed. The next report is the report of the Vice President.
Hey everyone, just want to start off by thanking everyone at the table and involvement there. It seems like you guys got a lot of signups, so thanks for that. As President Matthew was talking about, me and him had to work on the USG survey. It should end up being around hopefully 20 non-demographic questions. Obviously, it's like a case by case depending on expandable questions and that sort of thing. As Matt mentioned, we'll be asking the library to review this, and we hope to have the average survey participant finish in about 5 to 7 minutes or so. President Matthew and I met with Interim Vice Chancellor Rob Dixon for Student Affairs and Director Jean Orion from Career Services. As Matt mentioned, we talked a lot about career developments for UIC students, as well as mentioning the Meal Swipe Donation Program. Vice Chancellor Rob Dixon was very in support of our work, and it's going to follow up on it for us. And then President Matthew, Speaker Michelle, and I had to work out details for specific asks and implementations for the reading and review days for our meeting on February 6th. Really excited for that, and we're going to meet again this week to further refine it. And that's the end of my report.
Thank you. Are there any questions or comments regarding Vice President Fernandez's report? If not, then the report of the Vice President will be filed. Next, we have the report.
Hello, everyone. I hope you all had a great weekend. So first and foremost, I have here that I have yet to hear back from UIC Catering. I actually followed up with them today and communicated with them. So plan on having catering at the next USG General Body meeting next Monday. Additionally, we'll be utilizing the same order templates that we were using last semester. So if you have any issues with those, or I guess compliments, please share those with me and I'll be sure to keep those in mind. And now that I have spoken with them, catering for USG events will be available. So I'll start to place these orders that have been coming through. So as far as the Treasury Committee goes, we met last Thursday and today to discuss the specifications of the UIC Radio X USG Open Mic Night. We were supposed to meet with the president of the Business Student Advisory Board to discuss a potential USG event, but he ended up canceling today, so we're trying to reschedule that for as soon as possible. We also established weekly committee meeting times. That will be Wednesdays at 1 p.m. Please keep that in mind if you're ever going to be joining a Treasury Committee meeting. And additionally, we're discussing potential future USG initiatives. I'm also communicating with Secretary Danya regarding dates to reserve a table in the student center's lobby for the Helping Hygiene, Winter Wear, and Supplies, the Spring Supplies initiatives. So pretty much we're gonna be giving out these items during each respective week. And we absolutely need help giving these items out. So next general body meeting or the one following, I'll have these dates finalized and I'll let you all know because we're gonna need a lot of help handing these items out and also communicating and engaging with the students. Additionally, hot chocolate will be provided, so that's kind of an incentive for us to be engaging with the students and them to be engaging with us. Additionally, if you have any initiative ideas that may involve unapproved vendors, please approach me as soon as possible because this process takes 4 to 6 weeks. I know that multiple representatives have reached out to me regarding unapproved vendors, and I just want to say, please reach out to me again so we can get the ball moving on that because it is kind of a long process and we don't want to get caught with our back against the wall. But on that note, I yield my time for questions.
Thank you. Are there any questions or comments regarding Treasurer Basta's report? Oh, yes, Director Kempe?
Are you still handing out USG bags at these events?
Yes, so I have not placed the order yet, but I will be submitting a RFF this week to purchase brown paper bags with the USG logo on them. And we're definitely not going to use all of these bags during these giveaways, but this will also be nice for us to keep in the office as we will have supplies to give away throughout the year and next year. And it's just great to have them around because it's USG branded bags.
Are there any other questions or comments regarding Treasurer Basta's report? If not, then the report of the treasurer will be filed. Next, we have the report of the speaker. Once again, USG applications are open. The form is available on the USG website and via the link tree on our Instagram. Please encourage your friends and classmates to apply, send it in your group meetings, stuff like that. Applications are due this Friday, February 3rd, and speeches and voting will occur next 2 p.m. So with that in mind, it is really important that all your representatives are present for this meeting so that we may have a productive discussion. We have 17 vacancies, and I'll be providing everyone with the applications and final applicant count with next week's email. It's really important that everyone looks through the applications prior to attending next week's GBM. I promise you'll not be able to get a full idea of what a representative or a prospective representative can offer just through skimming through their application while they're giving their speech. So please come prepared so that you can have a good idea of who each applicant is before the meeting. First mental health commission meeting will be held this Wednesday from 5 to 6 p.m. and this will be our weekly meeting time. Some agenda highlights are reading and review days. We'll discuss that. Peer support, a therapy dog event, and some other interesting topics. So if you're interested in any of the issues listed above, or if you have any of your own mental health related initiatives that you would like to pilot, please come attend our meeting. And if you can't attend but would still like to be involved in any of these initiatives, just reach out to me directly. As Matthew and Michael said, we met to discuss mental health initiatives and we'll be meeting again to finalize our game plan for reading and review days before the working group. And on Sunday, I met with interim speaker Yasmin to discuss objectives for the semester and our agenda. She will be chairing and making the packet for a meeting sometime in the middle of the semester, I believe it's in March, which will be super exciting. I'm continuing to update the USG box, and some upcoming events to be wary of is the USG Spring Orientation, speaker one-on-one meetings, and the representative leadership retreat. So as soon as we get those new reps voted in next week, I will be sending out a lot of forms for you guys to fill out, so please stay on top of that, and we should be good to go. Are there any questions or comments regarding the speaker's report? If not, the report of the speaker will be filed. Next, we have the report of the Chief of Staff.
Okay, so this week I guess it was last week, I met with President Matthew to go over Trello. So directors, you should have seen some things entered into the Trello with deadlines, and that's to help us keep on track. I also met with directors Mahanur, Manasti, and Jair last week. And they'll update you on the reports, things they told me. our e-board meeting is this Friday at 5, and then I'll have director meetings. I'm combining them, 2 meetings with Ken B and Felix this Friday at 6 then. I also worked on the 100-day report to highlight USG initiatives, and this will be shown at the State of the Student event with more details to come about that, but that will just be highlighting things we've worked on this past semester and looking forward.
Thank you. Are there any questions or comments regarding Chief of Staff Abby's report? If not, then the report of the Chief of Staff will be filed. Next, we have the report of the Diversity and Inclusion Chair.
Hello, everybody. Okay, so an update with the Diversity and Inclusion Town Hall. There's a new date set for the event because there was an issue with the room reservation, but that was resolved. So that new date is going to be set for February 13th, just a week after the event was originally supposed to be held. It's the same time and room in Student Center East 302. We're just reconfirming attendance from administration. Something exciting though, that one of the admins who couldn't come is able to come now, which is nice. And once again, we'll be having the same catering at the event. Still working with Director Kenby to put up flyers in Student Center East, and we're starting up increasing contraceptive access again. I kind of ran into a block last semester without ideas, but SHAPE actually reached out to Representative Brina with ideas, so we'll be looking into those ideas and seeing if we can collaborate together with either funding or reaching out to administration. Other things to note, DIC members, I'll be finding us a time to start up committee meetings again, hopefully starting this week, and once again, G and Brina are working very hard with their events. Yeah.
Are there any questions or comments regarding Dr. Moxley's report? Just as a reminder, town halls are mandatory events for all representatives to attend. So these will work the same as like USG GBMs, where it's in the bylaws where if you have an excuse absence, it'll count towards your total excuse absence of the semester. Same with unexcused absences. So if you aren't able to attend, please let us know ahead of time, and it'll be handled the same way. Are there any other questions? Yes, Sam.
When was that amended to the bylaws of town halls?
I'm not sure when it was amended, but last time I checked, it was there. So
it's probably been there for at least like 2 years, because I know it's here this year and last year and the year before. Yeah.
Oh yeah, it was in the constitutional bylaws enacted way before.
are there any other questions or comments? If not, then the report of the Diversity and Inclusion Chair will be filed. Next, we have a report of the Legislative Affairs Committee Chair.
Hey everyone. So we went to Springfield on Friday. Super fun with Melody, Juan, and myself, and some other members of the Student Advocacy Coalition system in Springfield. And we went to receive training and prepare to get groups on Lobby Day at the state capitol, which is actually really nice, a lot more than I expected. While in Springfield, we toured the state capitol and connected with other students from the University of Illinois Springfield who were associated with their student government association, which is kind of like their version of USG. And SAC. And then with that, I just do want to remind everybody that Lobby Day is February 22nd. This will be a larger group. We will be lobbying on behalf of the 3 university systems, which is Urbana, Springfield, and UAC Chicago. The biggest thing we will be advocating for is an increase in budget funding, not only for UIC, but for the entire system. One of the percentages they gave us in the training was around 59, 52 of Illinois students actually go within one of the 3 universities, so 52%, around 52% of undergraduate students attend one of the 3 universities, so we need a lot of money. With that, if you do want to attend, let me, myself, or Melody know, and we'd love to have you. Another thing is the mayoral candidate forum and upcoming elections. So the candidate forum will take place February 8th, 2023 of this year. I did send out the link. So if you do want to attend, make sure to apply because it is limited seating and you do need to show proof of that you signed up in order to enter. I am also preparing and gathering information to create educational resources for students to understand better the mayoral candidates and their positions on certain topics. So if there are certain things you want to know about the candidates, you can definitely let me know and I can research it. And the idea with this is to create some resources to hand out to students so they can make better educational, educated votes when they actually go vote. And with that, if anybody does have any questions or concerns, you can definitely let me know in my email right there. Are you on time for any questions?
Are there any questions or comments regarding Director? Yes, Melody?
So actually contact Matthew if you are a student government representative and you want to go to SAC, the lobby day, sorry. Because as, like, we have limits and kind of like designations on how we're working out who can and can't go. So if you are interested in that, you should probably let him know as soon as possible. One caveat is that the training we just did was for the leadership training, which was a little bit more extensive than the training that people who do go will still need. You still do need to know how to talk to legislators, how to put it within the frame of like the budget line items, kind of like what are yeses and yays on how you can say it or how you can respectfully say that there are like problems that you have dealt with and how you can't. And I can teach you the intricacies of that, or we can teach you the intricacies of that, I should say, but that is something that will need to be done beforehand, before February 22nd. And after Matthew gets me a completed list, we can get y'all a date on when we can do that. And that could be online too, so it can be accessible for everyone. And I think that's it.
Thank you. Are there any other questions or comments regarding Director Schreider's report? Yes.
It's actually a question for Melody. So for the people outside of USG who registered, like for instance, Pre-Law Society, we kind of just forwarded that link to them in terms of registration, and then I send out emails to them. So should I tell them to reach out to Matthew and also expect an upcoming date on like some sort of training?
So if it's outside of student government, you can tell them to reach out to me. But once again, like, because lobby day is SAC's biggest draw, we do typically like let our members get priority seating. So we're gonna see, you know, what our members want. Now that, like I said, I can still talk to my boss on like how many seats, if we can stretch seats, in terms of availability for there. But the thing is, the amount of seats that we have for the bus are already set. So people would have to find their own transportation there and back, even if I could like get them another chair or another plate when we're there.
Got it. So just let them know to reach out to you.
Yeah.
See if their seat is
Yeah,
secure.
basically.
Okay. Thank you.
Are there any other questions or comments? If not, then the report of the Director of Legislative Affairs will be filed. Next is the report of the Public Affairs.
Hi, so we held our first PAC meeting last Monday. If anyone wants to stop by, they're from 5 to 5:30, bi-weekly on Mondays. We're currently working on the February newsletter. We worked on the January newsletter, sent that out today. And then, our committee also worked on March program today. So any questions, email can be.
Yes.
Yeah, I just gonna make a comment because I was just in the USG office. So all of the merchandise has been delivered and bundled, except for the bags and water bottles. But everyone's merchandise is in the office. It has your name on it. There's a label. So please, if you want your merchandise, go to the office and pick it up. You'll find yours there. Thank you.
If there are any questions or comments regarding Director Kempy's report, please reach out to her directly. And the report of the Public Affairs Chair will be filed. Next, we have the report of the Student Success Chair.
Hi, everyone. So I met with Dr. Kochi last Friday, and we were able to work on two major initiatives. So the first one was we were able to make a Dean's Advisory Board specifically for the College of Engineering, which is something very exciting because we were trying to work on that since last year. And so with that, I and my committee will be helping her in regards to making a application form and interview. She will be making a proposal and sending it to me. And she'll be sharing it with her director of undergrad studies from all the departments in the College of Engineering to get their approval and suggestions. And we'll be meeting again in regards to trying to come up with creating it in this upcoming semester. The next major initiative that we were able to work on was making a dean's list for the College of Engineering, which we haven't actually had. And it was actually created and formalized last week. And today, all the emails were sent out to students who were placed on it. So that was something very exciting. Next thing, I will be meeting with Lauren Gallagher this upcoming Friday in regards to a future event and initiative. So stay tuned for that. And lastly, to my committee, if you haven't already done so, please fill out the one to me. And I yield for questions.
On our line since last year, so it's really great to see that this is happening. So great job to you, Manar, and to the rest of the CSS.
Are there any other questions or comments regarding Director Mahanor's report? If not, then the report of the Student Success Chair will be filed. Last but not least, we have the report of the Campus Life Chair.
Good evening, everyone. Had a great weekend. So the UIC Campus Housing Assistant Resident Director Clark Scott reached out, just asking for the undergraduate student government's help on making UIC classroom seats more accessible for all body types. So there were a couple of residents who reached out to campus housing professional staff, stating how their experiences and experiences of other people when they aren't able to fit in certain seats in certain lecture halls. So instead of actually attending class, they'll skip because they don't feel like they belong. So that's something that I look forward in working with, because essentially, according to the ADA, everyone should have access to education, regardless of what types of physical capabilities they have. So that also includes seat sizes. Me being a tall person, it's very difficult to sit in certain areas in BSB, but I can only imagine for different body types how difficult it might be. So I'm not too sure where that's going to go, but or how to go about it, but that's something that I'll be helping on. The UIC United Faculty Union gave an update on the Vice Chancellor's Wellbeing / Mental Health Committee. So essentially, they were just a preliminary meeting to discuss what the plan will be for making a plan to improve things. So I have that email. If anyone would like, I can share that with you with more details. Just send me an email and I'll be happy to share that information. Representative Samblin reached out regarding the UIC Radio X USG Open Mic event. So we'll be talking about that a little bit in the Campus Life Committee. So feel free to reach out if you're working on that project, if you want any help. But it seems like everything is good to go, essentially. Responded to a couple of potential USG representative emails, answering questions about what the Campus Life Committee is and what we do and what our goals are for the semester. The Campus Life Committee will be meeting this Thursday in the USG office at 2 p.m. I know a few of us won't be able to make it there, so we'll figure out another time for next week. I just want to get one meeting out of the way for sure, just so we touch base. And then one thing that isn't on there, I received an email requesting for a meeting from the Associate Vice Chancellor of Mental Health Services. So I will be setting up that meeting soon. Sorry, Associate Vice Chancellor of Health and Wellness, Dr. Raphael. I can't pronounce the last name, sorry, but if anyone's interested in that, let me know. I'll be potentially meeting with them this coming Friday, February 10th. I yield my time for questions.
Are there any questions or comments? Yes, Madison.
Just a comment about classroom accessibility. So DRC actually, that's part of their job, making classrooms accessible to students, especially because BSB is such a big problem with classroom accessibility. Some of their staff, that's why like some rooms actually get moved last minute. Some classrooms get moved because there's students in those classes that don't find those seats accessible. And so that's why some classes get switched around sometimes between like ARC or BSB or something like before, like, I don't know, before the first day of school right then, because those students don't find those seats accessible. But I'm not exactly certain if it has to be like a documented disability or if it's any sort of disability or issue with accessibility with body types. I'm not sure what goes into that. I just know that that's something that they do in their office. So you could reach out to them about that.
Thanks for that information. We can definitely work on this together. And if anyone else has any other information or would like to help out, send me an email so we can collaborate on this. Since it's another administration also is very invested in this campus housing. So it'd be great to get some traction on this.
Are there any other questions regarding Dr. Felix's report? And not that the report of the campus site chair will be filed. The next order of business is announcements. Are there any announcements? Yes.
Hello, everyone. It's that time of the year, preparing for the gala. So if anyone is interested, well, for some context, the gala is the end of the year event for USG. It's basically in honor of all the initiatives, projects, events that we've worked on, to just sort of pay homage to it. And last year we invited several student organizations that we were in collaboration with. I know it's a little bit different this year, but you know, we still had a lot of events in which we interacted with other student orgs. So with that to say, it is one of the larger events that USG works on. It's usually very fancy and a lot of planning goes behind it. So if it's something that you're interested in joining, it's an ad hoc committee. Please talk to me after the meeting or email me or however you can contact me, you can do that. I would love to have as many of you on board. I don't have any set idea on how often we'll be meeting, but we'll get to that later on. So if you're interested, just talk to me.
Thank you. Are there any other announcements?
The gala is definitely going to be something very, very exciting. So if you're interested in helping planning that out, please reach out to Danya. Just another plug-in about APIDA month. If you're interested in joining this committee, please reach out to me.
Thank you. Are there any? Oh.
And I forgot to mention, the co-chair opportunity is a funded leadership role. So.
Are there any other announcements? If not, we'll move on to the next order of business, which is adjournment. Is there a motion to adjourn the meeting?
I motion to adjourn the meeting.
Is there a second?
I second it.
All those in favor, please say aye. All those opposed, please say nay. Please. Does anyone abstain? not, the meeting is now adjourned at 7:07 PM.
Matthew's gonna